Welcome to part 2 of the Chickasaws going on, or Trump has a Val Kilmer crush, or whatever we decide to call this episode with the eclipse in it. Probably something about the eclipse.
Total eclipse of the Phil.
And Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And Phil. Here we go.
On your mark, get set. Have you ever seen that video of Trump trying to explain, or someone trying to explain to Trump it's best if you just leave all the equipment there and destroy it? He's like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe if they thoroughly destroyed it. But when they're dealing with $1 trillion budgets, I'm sure it is. Like you're a business owner and you're like, you know what? It would be cheaper for us to abandon this office building and let the owner come after us for damages for cleanup or whatever than actually having our employees clean it up. Because they're going to hire like some demo company to come in and just scoop it all out. We would be paying our like top level execs to like clean their desks. So it could just be as simple as that. Like just an economic thing. Like it'd be better just, leave it. Maybe it was something like that.
You want to hear something sickening war-wise? So I got to know this guy who was involved in, open burn pits. It's become a popular thing now, people know, but many years ago, it wasn't as popular. When we first got into Iraq and Afghanistan with Bush, I talked to this guy who was part of a program of trying to help people that had been inhaling all these open burn pits. There's a government contractor who was in charge of literally getting rid of the garbage on the U.S. military bases, right? And there's multiple ways they're supposed to do it, but they just went to the last resort, which was burning it all. Yeah. This is the cheapest way to do it. It was super simple. They dig a big hole, literally dump all the garbage in there and just light it on fire.
Yeah.
These guys had trucks, and it's a government contract, right? They had brand new trucks. They would fly over to like massive, probably $100,000 trucks, right? They'd fly them over. They'd land there. They'd use these trucks. And you know what they'd do? They didn't even maintain them at all, even to the point of changing the oil.
Yeah.
They would just drive them, and then they would blow up and die from not changing the oil, and they'd destroy them. And then they just get new trucks and fly them over and just drive them around because their budget was so high that it was easier for them to just buy new trucks and send them over there than to send people out there to maintain these trucks.
Right.
And he's like, plus, every year, if they can go back to the U.S. government and say, hey, we allocated $75 million for vehicle expenses, but we actually hit $100,000, so we need to increase that budget this year. And they can just constantly increase their budget. Yeah. Meanwhile, the $100,000 truck really costs them $60,000 because they've got to deal with GMC or something. And then people are just making all this money on every single... Anyway, it's just insane.
It's insane. Well, when you write that big of a check... That's what happens. Obviously, they're like, we've got all this money to blow through, so why would we change the oil when we have enough money? It's like, did you guys watch that Killers of the Flower Moon? That Martin Scorsese about the... No. I forget the tribe.
It's the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon. The Osage Indians, or Native Americans, were so wealthy because they struck oil on their reservation. And this is a real thing. They said at the time, I think this was in like the 20s, they were the wealthiest people per capita, like group of people in the entire world.
Wow.
They were kind of like the modern day Saudi Arabia type thing. And they were so wealthy that there were reports of like a native would bring his brand new vehicle to the dealer and being like, it has a flat tire, I want a new one, and buy a brand new car.
New car.
Like the people were so wealthy. And that's what that movie's about, is like how those people were taken advantage of. And because people would come into town and be like, hot dogs, $45 back in like, whatever. And they would pay it because they just had so much money. They didn't even
care.
know. Yeah.
They didn't know. I know. I listened to some podcasts of just celebrities.
Yeah.
One of them's Daniel Tosh, who's not like some gazillionaire, but he's probably doing pretty well. And he's really funny. He's like, I don't know how much it costs. Yeah. I don't know. He's just like, wow. He's probably multi-millionaire. and
Oh,
or
it's
whatever.
a banana. How much could it be? $10.
Who was it that said that?
Lucille Bluth.
Yeah,
on
the mom
Arrested
from Arrested
Development.
Development. Yeah, but he's like, oh, I go in and get this hair procedure every 6 months. I have no idea how much it costs. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's between like $1,000 to $3,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
He just has no freaking clue, and he does it every 6 months. He gets the bill, and he's doing it on his podcast, right? And it's really funny podcast. But anyway, he gets the bill, and he's like, "Oh, $1,350. I was freaking right. That's awesome." Like,
Yeah.
he's all jazzed up, and he's like, "I don't know how much it costs. It doesn't matter to me." Like,
Yeah.
anyway, but where to me, if I was getting my hair transplanted or whatever he's doing,
Yeah.
I'd want to know.
Because I got to limit how many ramen noodles I buy that month to pay for it. Right?
I gotta say, ramen noodles are a funny thing. I buy ramen noodles all the time because my kids freaking love them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter has so much fun chopping up veggies and getting meat and eggs and all kinds of stuff to make ramen noodles. I was never that fancy with ramen noodles growing up.
No, water
Water, yeah.
and the seasoning packet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe if you're fancy, throw an egg in there.
Nope. I never did that growing up.
I only did it as an adult.
Yeah.
That's
An
like
egg?
the most fancy I still get with it.
Yeah, they do that in the ramen restaurants.
Oh yeah. So I've been going to ramen restaurants lately because I took my daughter to one, and she's like, this is amazing, like getting real ramen.
Yeah.
And I'm figuring out how I like my ramen.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah.
is
Chopped up
fun.
pork and extra eggs. I always order extra eggs because they soft boil them. So it's like a little yolky in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's dope.
My daughter likes
ramen's
to put
good.
garlic, salt, and lemon pepper.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Mm. My daughter just likes tons of sriracha and peppers, onions, like green onions, and whatever meat we have, like chicken or yeah.
Yeah.
Our kids are so fancy.
Your kid is so fancy.
You're so rich. You have
We're so rich.
ramen.
Ramen.
Yeah, we haven't.
$100,000
Our kids don't eat much ramen. We're like pretty anal parents about what
Excuse
our kids
me?
eat.
Oh,
Like we force our kids to eat what we're eating, like
Yeah.
and for the meal, like we try real hard not to let them snack too much, like before dinner, and we're like,
Yeah.
you're eating what we're eating, and it's always not always, but usually a fight. And the weird thing is like we have weird kids as far as like tastes, because like our daughter
eat-
hates pizza, won't eat pizza at all.
that's so funny.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
And our boys always want hamburgers, and our daughter also doesn't like hamburgers very much. Like,
Yeah.
so it's interesting. But they all like Thai food. They like Indian food. They like steak. You know.
Of course they like
Yeah.
steak. Every kid likes steak, don't
Yeah.
they?
Well, I guess I didn't like it growing up, but I guess
What?
Well, it's because we always had
Overcooked.
we
bull
always
crap.
had beef from my family's farm.
Oh.
And I didn't realize till I got a little older that I hate grass-fed beef. like
you
like
want that processed?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and corn probably is a big aspect, but like grass-fed beef, it's really gamey. Like really, like it's
Oh.
like eating a deer. Pretty
I
much.
like it.
Do
I
you
like
really?
it. Mhm.
Yeah, I
It's
don't.
like venison.
I don't like it. I just like
Huh.
straight up like the Japanese, like feeding them straight like lard and
fatty stuff?
fat, and like massaging them and like giving them lots of corn and sugar, like eating cotton candy, whatever they do to just make that beef like soft and tender and fatty. I like that.
That's funny. My
So,
son is literally the opposite of your kids.
Oh,
Like,
really?
He eats like 5 things.
Yeah.
And he eats whenever he wants.
Yeah.
I never even dinner. I'm like, okay, dinner's ready.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to eat, I'm like, okay, just
Yeah.
don't die.
Jeff doesn't feed his kids. They just fend for
I'm
themselves.
telling
He
you,
just
dude.
eats yogurt, right?
Well, he eats tons of yogurt.
Yeah.
Sandwiches, which is ham and cheese usually.
Yeah.
He likes corn dogs and chicken nuggets because
Yeah.
he's American.
Yeah.
And what else does he eat? Cereal, which I kind of cut that one out because
Yeah.
there's just too much sugar.
Yeah.
He's like insane.
It's a lot of sugar in cereal.
I know.
I didn't realize till I was an adult and my wife brought it to my attention, but Cheerios is actually like the only reasonably healthy cereal on the shelf.
yeah.
Unless even if you go over to like the pure granola section, that often has like a ton of added sugar.
Like the grape nuts section.
Yeah.
Shout out
grape
Amber.
nuts.
Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
A lot of sugar.
Yeah. Any of them. Cheerios, I think, is the lowest sugar you can get on the shelf.
Huh.
And it has to be original Cheerios. You go to like Honey Nut or like any of those, or even the multi-grain is like 2 or 3 times the sugar
Wow.
of Cheerios.
Well, you know it's really good when you make Cheerios, just classic Cheerios. You put milk on
Sugar.
it, and then you just put a shit
Sugar.
ton
Or
of sugar on it.
honey. I always
yeah.
put honey on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's gross by itself.
My kids told me that your wife doesn't let your kids have ketchup because it has too much sugar in it.
They can have like a little squirt usually. I don't care. If Crystal's gone for the night, it's like have ketchup or barbecue sauce. But yeah,
Hey.
ketchup is quite a bit of sugar.
Hey kids,
Yeah.
Mom's gone for the night. You know what that means?
2
Everyone get a cup.
tablespoons of
White bread, ketchup, peanut butter with sugar in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah, she
It is a
doesn't.
good thing.
Yeah. But I mean, not really a mean thing to say that someone's healthy minded, I
Yeah.
guess.
It is. Well, the way we're derogatorily bashing her about it, yeah, it is kind of mean.
Well, the fact that when she's gone, you give her kids white bread.
Yeah.
You don't
You know-
actually do that.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny about that though is that the school district or whoever's in charge of their food, including like the Michelle Obama program, considers ketchup a vegetable.
Yeah.
So like you have to have a balanced meal, right? That you serve to the kids at school.
Yeah.
So if you have chicken nuggets and ketchup to dip it in, that's a vegetable and a meat
Yeah.
and a grain because you have the breading on it.
I
so
think
it's like,
fries are considered vegetables too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because all their
and they're
nutrients.
actually not. That's the funny thing. They're not vegetables, at least according to my wife.
I may be wrong,
Yeah.
but I because I used to look at the kids' menus online all the time, and I thought that they considered fries
They do.
a vegetable. But
Yeah,
they do.
but I think it's technically not.
It's a
a
starch.
root
Oh,
crop.
it's not. It's
It's a
just like
starch.
tomatoes.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are fruit.
Yeah. But
Potatoes are
so vegetables, to my understanding, are like leafy greens, lettuce, kale, spinach, carrots, peas. Those are vegetables. Even a squash is a fruit, I think.
peppers.
Peppers are a fruit, I think.
Mhm. the fruit
and
is technically something that comes from the flower or the bud of the.
Oh,
it
okay.
has seeds in it. Like
Hmm.
that's a fruit. Root crops are like potatoes, yams, beets.
Yeah.
Beets, I don't think beets are a vegetable. They might be.
Onion.
Onion, I think, is a vegetable. But when I cook a meal with onions, Crystal's always like, "Where's the vegetables?" Like it's got to have a carrot or a. And again,
Carrots aren't vegetables.
I think they. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm just
We're all
saying
screwed
in
up.
my
We
in my
don't know.
house, this is what a vegetable is. So
Nobody will ever know. Not even a botanist or a plantologist or whatever.
yeah,
Here's the thing. If it's in the vegetable section, it's a vegetable.
Yeah.
If it's in the fruit section, it's a fruit.
my thing is if you can have that flavor of Skittle, that's a fruit. And if it's something you would put in your salad, that's a vegetable.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So tomatoes are a vegetable in my book.
Yeah.
Ranch is a vegetable.
Ranch dressing,
Croutons,
vinegar,
vegetable.
vegetable.
Cheese, vegetable.
Exactly.
Eggs.
On to world news. Apparently, did Israel attack the Iranian embassy? Was that what happened?
Wait. Let's recap what you just said. All right. In world news, did Israel do this?
Well, and I'm
I
saying
don't
that,
know. Tell us.
I'm
What
saying that
happened?
because I was on vacation, and when I came back, it's like
You were on vacation.
Iran's going to attack Israel, and I thought what I read somewhere it's because Israel like bombed their embassy or something, but I couldn't find that. I'm only hearing that they're like any second now they're expecting Iran to attack Israel, and which could lead to all-out war between Iran and Israel, and in theory the United States, because we're saying like don't do it type thing. Is that what you guys understand the situation right now?
You're
I
talking about it all.
saw a headline of something to that effect that they attacked, but I didn't read the article, so I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, citing 2 unnamed U.S. officials, CBS reported Friday that a major attack on Israel could be imminent and may include more than 100 drones and dozens of missiles aimed at military targets inside the country. That could be crazy, right?
So Iran is expected to.
Yeah,
attack
Iran's
Israel.
making plans to attack Israel. Like, this is like escalating bigly. Like, right?
Biggie sized.
Yeah.
The most bigly. Yeah.
It's not good.
And I was trying to figure out why, but I think that's why. They were saying that Israel hit one of the embassies or something like that. I just wondered if you guys knew more about it.
Here's an interesting conspiracy theory that I just made up right now already. I bet you we go into a full-on war, boots on the ground before the election time, because it has been proven in the past that during election or during wars, presidents don't typically change.
They maintain their presidency. So that
Even to the point that wasn't there a president that had 3 terms because we were in the middle of World War II or World War I?
Delayed the election or something like that.
So they carried on because they're like, we're not going to switch presidents in the middle of this.
That was, what president was that?
Hoover?
No.
Ford?
Who was the president in World War II? Truman
Washington.
was after him. We got to know
Abraham
this. Was
Lincoln.
it Roosevelt? No.
Abraham Kennedy. I
Who
think.
was that guy? Oh, that's bugging me.
Okay.
World War II president.
Wasn't it like some guy named like Winston Churchill or something?
Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
28th after.
That's World War One.
Oh.
Was it
Oh, I typed World War One. That's why.
World War II?
Who was the president during World War II? Roosevelt.
Who was the president
Obviously.
during we?
So FDR, he was the last one to serve 3 terms, right? I think it was
Yeah.
actually after him that we set the limit.
No, I think wasn't there term limits before then?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I think it was just that Washington was like,
I'm done.
it shouldn't be the same guy forever, and people kind of kept that tradition
Right.
of not going too long.
Huh.
But after FDR, they were like, we should have a limit. I think. I didn't actually like research that, but
Because we don't research things on
yeah.
Oh, that sounds
It's an air
from out
blower.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but FDR, I think pretty much the world kind of rallied around, like, right?
Yeah.
Not the world, but the United States kind of rallied around.
Oh,
FDR.
he was popular for sure.
Yeah. Let's bring him back.
I think Truman was a lot more unpopular because obviously dropping the atomic bomb was really controversial.
yeah.
But I think other than that, Truman was kind of continuing the FDR style or whatever.
Don't we have his blood in like a mosquito trapped in resin or something? We can bring him back.
FDR.
As
or
a T-Rex?
He's
Bring it back as a
Roosevelt.
He's
dinosaur?
frozen in the same locker that Walt Disney is.
Yeah.
Head.
Something like that.
His brains are like Futurama.
At Disneyland.
Yeah.
Nice.
But anyway, we could be...
Or the brain on a Roomba. On Fall. Oh, did you guys watch Fallout yet? No. you
No.
didn't.
Oh, I
like
haven't.
the truth about the Hall of Presidents at Disneyland, like all their DNA is actually in the robot,
Inside
ready
the,
for reproduction.
the Abraham Lincoln robot.
Yeah.
Is that a thing at Disneyland? The
Yeah.
presidents?
Oh, it's terrible.
The Hall
Oh.
of Presidents.
Yeah.
Have you never seen it?
I like it.
I was
Yeah,
just
it's fine. It's just, yeah.
I was just thinking about how much you go to Disneyland, and I was thinking that you really have to go a bunch because you probably only get like one ride per trip. Right?
No, we go on like at least 20 rides.
At least 3.
In a day? In a single day?
No, we
in a
we
trip.
never go for one day.
What,
It's
how many
always
days do you go?
2 or 3
3?
days. Yeah.
So it's like $14,000
Mhm.
vacation pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but yes.
Oh, the best day at Disneyland ever was actually with Cammie. And you must have been there. And it was raining.
Disneyland?
Yeah.
Did we go to Disneyland with
Yeah.
the girls
Yeah. Anyways, it was raining.
when we stayed in Whittier?
Yeah. And I'm saying it was the best day in Disneyland because there was no lines anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was raining.
Because it was raining.
Oh, it's awesome.
That's the time to go.
We walked
apparently.
up to the front of every single line we went to. Every single one.
Wow.
It was amazing. And we literally got bored. We had a 3-day park hopper pass and we're like, yeah, we're done. I'm wondering if I went there another time.
I don't remember.
I did.
Going to Disneyland.
Me and her little sister went down and visited her uncle. Anyways, I went at a separate time, and it was awesome.
Thanks for
it actually
inviting me.
kind of sucked.
Appreciate it.
I don't like you, Jake.
I know.
Oh,
Finding that out now.
yeah. It seems like, because even if you go on because you were like, yeah, we go on 15 rides over 3 days. You only go on 4 or 5 rides a day.
And it's a full day. It's like
9,
all
10
day
a.m.
standing
to
in
line.
10
20
p.m.
rides.
20 rides in a day?
And sometimes, no, the
In a
whole
trip.
weekend.
Oh.
But sometimes we go on the same ride 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
And we get the fast pass.
What's the fast pass?
It's a separate line that goes quicker.
For wealthier people.
You have to pay for it now.
You
huh?
do have to pay for Genie Plus.
How much is it?
I don't remember. It's
$14,000.
$20 a person or something like that.
So for $20, you can go in a shorter line, and all the people in the longer line are mad at you for cutting in line.
No, because they didn't pay $20 and they understand that.
Oh. You know what I was peeved about was I got on the plane the other day and I paid $60 extra to choose my seat further toward the front.
Uh-huh.
And there's someone sitting in it. And they were like, I think you can sit wherever you want. And I was going to make a big stink, but the seat right behind it was open and there was no one in there. So I'm like, I'll just sit right there. And she's like, thanks. But I was almost like, I don't think so. Beep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You pay $60 extra to sit in a certain seat?
Sometimes I do if I'm I got to fly to California and rent a car and get to a meeting in a short window.
Oh, yeah.
I got to sit toward the front of the plane
That
so
makes
I
sense.
can get off and get going. But yeah, you can't choose your seat unless you pay for it on most airlines nowadays. You just get a random seat.
Yeah.
So if you want to actually choose where you're sitting, you got to pay for it. And it ranges between it can be 20, 30, all the way up to $100.
Depends on your airline, but Delta, they're good.
Yeah.
I think Southwest, that's who I fly the most with just because it's so easy. It all depends on when you check in.
Yeah.
If you check in the first minute within 24 hours before the flight, then you'll get an early.
Oh, you can
seating.
actually choose your seat without paying
Well, no,
for
you
it?
can't choose your seat.
Oh,
but
you'll get a better
They
seat.
classify you in loading. They'll have
Zones.
group A,
Yeah.
and then they'll number you 1 through 6, and then A 7 through 10. And anyway, they put you in these blocks and they give you a number. So if you're A9, you're the 9th person on the plane, basically,
Well-
after handicapped people and
Yeah.
You ever seen
Veterans.
that Key and Peele skit? Jordan Peele is waiting in line and he's boarding A, and Keegan Michael whatever Keegan Key whatever he's the one announcing. He's like, hey, now we're gonna board first class passengers, then military, then handicapped people, and then goes through this list of 5 different groups, and he's like, and retired military people or retired handicapped people with military babies.
Yeah.
And it finally gets to the boarding class A, and everybody's
the whole plane's full. Yeah. They now boarding families with young children.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I've always been you really want to board. That's another reason sometimes I book toward the front, because I want to board last. I don't know why you want to sit longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to get on that plane and sit.
You board first, you're going to sit for an hour and a half before the plane takes off.
It's while people are boarding, I can still go to the bathroom. I can go grab a snack or a drink. I do that all the time. I don't understand the mentality. I want to get on first.
You should fly Delta then. They still assign all their seats.
Yeah.
Everything. It's all assigned.
They're changing it. Delta just announced they're going to change their method to I think more like Southwest does it.
I think everybody, I've probably flown 6 or 7 different airlines in the last 6 months. Everybody is, and I probably haven't flown Delta that recently, but everybody's to the pay for your seat type thing.
Yeah.
If you want to choose, you got to pay. And if you want to overhead
compartment?
luggage, you have to pay for that now on every airline.
No.
I think so.
Nope, not Southwest.
Oh, well, I've never flown Southwest.
You should fly Southwest. I can't believe you skipped Southwest and went straight to like Allegiant Air.
I don't know. Allegiant's great.
Yeah, then Southwest is a step up, I promise.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you just thought you had to pay for overhead bins.
Oh, you don't have to pay for it on them? Oh.
It's expected.
Carry on and personal. Or
You get a personal
included.
item and carry on. Your carry on can fit in the bin, and your personal item can be a freaking tote as long as it fits under the seat in front of you.
Oh, yeah. I think most airlines, though, you have to pay for the overhead now.
Nope.
Yeah?
Just Allegiant and Spirit, which are the two airlines you fly.
No, I think American you do. I think almost all of them.
Americans now flying out of
JetBlue
Provo
you definitely do. Yeah, American just announced they're flying out of Provo.
to Phoenix and Fort Worth.
Oh, is it American?
American Airlines.
Yeah, I heard someone reporting on that, and they're like, we need to start opening up a bar in this airline or this airport.
It's so funny because I fly out of Provo a lot, and I was there one morning, and I hear some guy go, he's like standing at the line at the coffee shop, and it's like, the only airport in the world without coffee. It's
Like he's in line at the coffee
yeah,
shop.
well, he's like walking away angrily. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they have coffee. They probably were just out, or the machine was broken or something. It was funny.
The only airport in the world with the coffee machine that's broken. he
Yeah.
should have
It's funny thoh. It's obviously
said. It's
like
a tiny airport.
An
it's
asshole.
awesome.
Great
It's
way to get around when you live.
I
in
didn't even know about it
Utah
until like a
Valley.
year ago. I almost always fly out of it now, which is just great that it happens to fly where I work a lot. And it's like I can literally leave my house a
When they start
half hour
when
before
they start boarding first class.
Yeah, I can. I can leave my house like literally probably 45 minutes before the flight. I can leave my house and still get there in ample time to get on.
How long do the full body cavity searches go there?
Like nothing. There's almost never a line. The most it's been, there was one time I went and it was actually like a 5-minute wait in line.
Yeah.
Almost every other time there's one or two people. It's like you just walk right in.
Yeah.
And get there. And it might actually be because I go so close to the flight. Most people show up earlier, but I go like really close. I always get in, always get on the flight. And
it's a 2-minute walk from the parking lot to
the plane, to the gate.
To the gate, yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I love it. I love that too. That's why whenever I fly into LA, I always try to fly to Burbank because Burbank is tiny.
Yeah.
They don't even have the things that hook up to the plane, the catwalk that you walk on.
Yeah.
You walk out of the plane downstairs across the pavement into a building.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, this is great. And then you go to LA and it's like, oh.
Well, and I was
LAX.
flying from Provo to LAX, but they stopped doing that. Now they fly to
Long Beach.
John Wayne, which is the Disneyland airport. And John Wayne is almost as small as Provo. So it's like you get there, you just walk right into Provo. And when you're flying back from John Wayne, it's almost just as as far as a walk. It's awesome to fly there. So if you're going to Disneyland, John Wayne Airport from Provo is the way to go because that's like the shortest. I would say even if you live closer to the Salt Lake Airport, it's probably worth your time to drive to Provo because of how much shorter like that process is. Both ways. Yeah. Like going to John Wayne. It's awesome. I've loved it.
Speaking of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Speaking of Donald Trump.
Did you hear that there's a bill presented to change the Dulles Airport to Donald Trump?
Oh, really?
The what airport?
Dulles.
Where's Dulles?
Virginia.
Virginia?
Oh, so it's not some podunk little.
No, it's the main airport in Virginia. Yeah.
Wow.
They want to change it to
Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia. There is a bill in the House presented to change it to the Donald Trump International Airport.
That would be hilarious.
It's so funny because they recently did a some group or somebody did a
Survey.
a list. They listed all the presidents in like order of greatness or whatever. I'm gonna pull it up real quick because it was actually really funny. I thought
in order of most incredible, best looking, most orange.
How would I list
most greatest
presidents best to worst?
List of presidents, best to worst. Yeah.
List of presidents before George Washington was one of your results.
Yeah, you got the
Oh, this is
dumbest search
actually
history
delayed
ever.
from where. Oh, here we go. Oh, this wasn't it. It was recent. There we go. President. Oh, it broke.
Franklin.
Apple TV.
I'll just tell you. Presidential experts rank all 45 presidents from best to worst. Where did Biden and Trump land? Well, take a guess where Trump landed.
Number 2.
From best to worst?
From best to worst.
So number 1 is best.
Number 1 is best, I think.
46 is worst.
Yeah, 46
or
is worst.
whatever.
Well, first of all, you can guess who was best.
Biden.
Wasn't Biden. It was,
Lincoln?
of course, Abraham Lincoln,
Oh.
followed by probably another couple of the... Here we go. Lincoln was 1, followed by
Roosevelt, yeah.
FDR.
I like FDR.
Washington,
Okay.
Teddy Roosevelt, Jefferson, Truman, Obama was number 7.
He's the coolest president,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Eisenhower, Johnson, Kennedy, Madison, Clinton got number 12.
Well, he's still alive.
Followed
Yeah.
shortly by Adams and then Biden, who was followed by
Wow.
Wilson, Reagan, Grant, Monroe, Bush, John Quincy Adams,
H.W. Bush.
Andrew Jackson. Anyway, you can scroll all the way down to the
George
very,
Bush
very,
is-
very bottom to
Trump
find
is last.
Donald
Oh,
Trump.
wow. What is this website? I hate Republicans.org.
something like that.
Haven't there been 46 presidents?
I don't know
47?
how many were on that list.
45.
Maybe they didn't count that one that like he died like 2 weeks into it.
Yeah, but isn't that funny? Joe Biden has like one of the worst ratings in history right now, but they ranked him 14th
What is it based on?
based on how liberal they are.
So
I
it's a
think.
percentage. It's a percentage.
The top half's just blue.
Yeah.
The second half's red.
No,
That's
but
funny.
if you look at that list, who is more Republican in the top? Like you have to, like Reagan's clear
Reagan
at
is-
16. But and obviously Lincoln was a Republican, but people will argue that the parties are different now than they used to be.
Oh, big time.
But anyway,
That's really funny.
it is.
And the other
funny.
thing I like too is if you go down to Trump, look at his percentage. It's 6. Like these are all like fairly close in percentage points, 2,
Yeah.
3 off. It went from 16.7 to 10.
yeah,
Dropped like 7
Yeah.
points.
yeah, the Buchanan who was
I'm
number
wondering
44.
what it's 10.9% of what? Like
Um,
supported abortion?
What they
I don't-
voted on.
yeah, Nixon, who
famously got removed from office because he was so terrible.
or voluntarily removed because he was going to be removed, is at 35. So Hoover, Tyler, Taylor, Fillmore, Harding, Harrison, Pierce, Johnson, Buchanan are all under him, followed by Trump. I think this list will largely change as history goes on. I don't think Trump is certainly not 45th, but I think he's probably going to land in the middle
Yeah.
of that ultimately. But and only that because of the whole January 6th stuff that went
I
on.
can't even believe you're talking about this. This is such a bullcrap article.
Well, if he changed his party affiliation to Democrat, he'd go up to
Yeah,
like 7.
he would. Well, I'm not bringing it up as like, look at this legitimate thing. I thought it was funny.
It
Like
is
how
funny.
obvious, particularly where they put Trump and where they put Biden. Like both of those placements are so strange on this list. It's like, are this list of presidential experts, are they intelligent at all?
Yeah, and
Like,
most of the people who would support this, like, yeah, Trump's the worst, would say it because of him as a person,
right.
not because any of the policies or anything that he accomplished. They'll
Right.
say he's a horrible person because he's a criminal and he's a sexist.
Right. Well, exactly. Like if you look, like I was saying, at world events, under Trump, we were like lowering the temperature with North Korea. The Middle East temperature was going down. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize by like 4 or 5 different people. Where Biden, it's like the whole world seemingly is like going the opposite
Boiling.
direction. On that alone, I don't know how these placements make any sense. So, and again, I'm not saying Trump should be number one. I'm not saying Biden should be last, but both of those seem so bad. It's like, well, the people who made this list just lost credibility with probably most of America. Like, it's funny to me.
People look at that and go, "Oh yeah, he's the worst."
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at voting history, last time around, most of America would agree with it.
Oh, you think so?
Because Biden won the election.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you can't have the support of 50% of the country and be dead last. There's got to be presidents. Biden, just a lot of presidents on that list didn't meet that criteria. And by the same token, you can't have the support of 30% of your country, which Biden does, and be like clear up in the top 10 or wherever he was, top 15. I don't know. It was funny to me. But anyway, Israel is going to war with Iran, and World War III is coming. Yada, yada, yada. On to...
I'm really tired today.
On to, what's the next news thing?
I don't
Galactic.
know, Phil. What is the next
Galactic.
It is Galactic, I think.
Oh.
Man, my iPad is
World.
struggling to keep up with this Apple TV. Let's see if that fixed it. I was trying to see if there's another world thing, but nope. It was straight on to the intergalactic news of the day, which is the solar eclipse just happened. Were you guys able to see the eclipse at all?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really look at it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't care?
I was
Not
able to
much.
see the 50% at its max.
Is that what you saw here? It wasn't too cloudy then.
No, it was clear.
Oh, was it?
It clouded up as the moon shadow was going away.
Yeah.
So I watched it on the ground with some leaves.
Oh,
I saw
did ya?
some like crescent leaves.
You didn't have glasses or anything?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh.
I mean, watching it in the way that you guys have seen it is like nothing, so I get it. We drove all the way down to Texas,
Here
like
we
I
go.
said we were going to, and we lucked out. Well, we got to see it again because we saw it in 2017, and Jake's got a picture of some crescent moons on the
Mhm.
sidewalk.
I poked some holes in some foil and projected the shadow onto the ground,
Yeah.
and you can see the.
Croissants.
But there it was as the moon shadow was going away, and then there's at its best view from Utah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It
Yeah,
looks like the eye that you would cut out of a jack-o'-lantern.
It was an interesting eclipse because we saw it in 2017. It was like so overwhelming. This time, as soon as we saw it, it was a weird feeling because it was like, oh, we're seeing it again. And like, it's like, I want to share it with everyone. Like, I was bummed that you guys weren't there with me watching it. And I was particularly bummed because Mike didn't get to see it at all. And he was only like a couple 100 miles away from me.
Couple hundred?
Probably, yeah. Maybe like 100, 150.
Wait, he traveled to go see it?
Yeah, he went down to visit his sister.
It was in Texas.
Oh.
And he was in Texas. And like we looked at the radar the night before, the prediction, and we were like, wow, it looks like where our hotel was going to be that we booked like 6 months ago is probably the best spot. And he was just a little too far south.
Yeah.
I was bummed, actually. Like when it came out, I was like, wow, that's great. But I was like, oh, I wish Mike was seeing this. Because if you'll remember, he texted those pictures like a few minutes before. He's like, it's going to be cloudy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was bummed about that. But it was amazing. Like before, this time I was fiddling with my camera so much I actually broke one of my camera lenses because I was trying to change it. I'm like, oh, but I want to watch it. And I couldn't get that lens to work. So I didn't get as good of pictures this time, but I'm going to show you a couple. Crystal got some great ones.
Because she wasn't fiddling.
She wasn't fiddling with stuff. It was also, I feel like it was a harder eclipse to photograph than the last time. I think it was brighter. And I don't know if that's because the sun was actually closer to the Earth or what the deal was.
Or the moon was. Is the moon always the same exact distance from the Earth, or does it have
No.
So the
I don't
moon
think
maybe
it
was
is.
a little farther away.
I think the moon is always facing.
I mean, distance from the Earth.
No, it's
Is
different.
it always it's different, yeah.
I don't know why
But it
I'm
was
having to log
considered
in.
a total eclipse, which means that the sun should be fully covered.
But there was a
It's
corona,
a total
right?
eclipse. So last year was so this is a picture Crystal took, which is like,
Wow, those are good pictures.
yeah, we got some good ones. Sorry, my iPad's super slow right now. But that's what we saw up in the sky. That's an unedited.
When you look at it, can you look at it with the naked eye?
Yeah, you can look at it just like that.
Yeah.
When it's fully covered, yeah.
When it's fully covered. And it doesn't look like this. That's the thing about photograph. So if you look at my desktop, I've got this is 20, you can see on the background.
2017.
Yeah.
That's 2017's.
Yeah,
I feel like it was darker, but we also might have just overexposed this time. But it was crazy. Like you look up in the sky and you look right at it. It's the weirdest thing because for the first time you see this perspective of like the sun and space that you didn't before. It's almost like the moon always looks like it's painted in the sky. The sun's always so bright that it just looks like a bright light. But it's like when this happens, you can almost like gauge the distance between the moon and the sun behind it.
Yeah.
It's like this thing up in space.
It's
like
physical.
It becomes more three-dimensional.
Or real.
Yeah. Or real is like another.
Wait, so the Earth is not flat?
Well, no, it's still flat, but this is really cool when you look at it.
Are birds real?
Yeah. I didn't know, although we
gravity
saw turtles and snakes after the fact, I didn't pay attention to what animals did.
They weren't mating.
Yeah, I wasn't like looking at animals. And other people, this was different than last time because last time there were a ton of people around us. This time I think a lot of people bailed because of the weather. Like they thought it wasn't going to happen. So there were like probably 50 people in our direct vicinity. We were being the loudest. We're like, oh, wow, this is so great. This is so cool. I think most people were trying to have like a quiet, serene experience, but they didn't realize who was coming to town.
The Lydiards were coming.
Yeah, they were coming, and we brought it hard, if you know what I mean.
Nope.
I do. Oh wait, not that.
Solar hard.
Solar hard. Anyway, I got a couple quick videos I'll show you too, because everyone loves listening to how a video works.
Mm-hmm.
But
This will be the third one.
yeah, we'll see if I can get it to work.
Phil.
I'm pretty sure that was because there were two planets and a comet supposed to be visible during that eclipse.
Yeah. Oh, we won't have so this is full eclipse from my phone, and you can see how bright it is. It doesn't look like that, but you can see how dark it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy dark, and
It looks like right as the sun's setting.
yeah, it's like when it started getting dark, I almost feel like it seemed darker. This is like a 360-degree sunset. Like this is how it is. Like you can see how dark. This is the middle of the day, but it's like sunset everywhere.
It's kind of cool. It looks like the sun's setting 360 degrees around you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is neat.
It's cool, and
You're
like
seeing the light from the Earth from the non-visible.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
this
non-eclipse
here
visible
the sun looks so bright, but it's nothing like that. It's like so difficult to photograph what an eclipse is like. And even when you look at like the professional photographs of it showing people and it up in the sky, they don't even capture it because the eclipse looks accurate, but the people down below are too dark. Like it's so difficult to expose those both. Even digitally after the fact, I've found. You almost need, I want to invent or try and find a lens filter that just has a little black spot on it so you can stick that right on the sun.
And you get the expanded light from everywhere else.
Exactly. That, I think, would give you a more accurate view of what it actually looked like.
Just take a Sharpie and touch your lens with it.
Yeah. Because this, when you look at this is like how dark it was. But if you have the sun up in the background, the sun will be overexposed. It was brighter than that, but it's like that's not how it was. It was like it's
No,
so crazy.
You know, it's funny you're bringing this up because this year I was looking at social media and stuff, trying to find like people experiencing it. Every single freaking camera is pointed at the sun,
right?
And I don't care about that. I can go Google that later and go, oh yeah, there's an eclipse, right?
Exactly.
As a person that's not personally experiencing it, what I wanted to experience this time, what I was looking for when I was looking through social media and whatnot, was exactly what you just showed us. What are the people like? What is the light like in the environment around you? Not the solar aspect of it.
Right.
And there was a couple, in fact, one of my daughter's friends posted some stuff and I saw it and it was actually really cool. Like it was cool to see the people's reactions down there, to see the lighting, how it looked. There was turtles mating.
Yeah.
It was way crazy.
Giraffes climbing on each other's back.
Yeah, there are gorillas getting ready for bed.
So so this was a picture I took. This is a raw picture, so I haven't changed this at all. It's obviously overexposed, but this is during full eclipse.
Yeah.
So you can see, like, in a normal picture, the sun would be blotting out the whole
Everything.
thing.
Yeah.
But here it's like way dark. And I actually so this is a darker exposure, and you still can't see how the sun really looked because it's black in the middle.
It looks like
in
the
real
moon.
life. Yeah, it looks kind of like the moon, but you can see kind of more down below. That's how it really looked. It was dark like that, but the sun in the center of it was black. Like the sun was way darker compared to the bottom. And that's what I'm saying. It's really hard to photograph. But so here's one of my daughter watching full eclipse, and it's obviously overexposed again. But I overlaid, if that's the right word. I'm trying to find one. So this is actually more what it actually looked like, but that's only because I cut the sun out of another picture and stuck it in there. But that's kind of what you were seeing when and it just kind of gives you. It's just like surreal. It's like so weird to be there. Everything. I don't know. It was, and again, it was amazing. We got a full minute.
Your outfit is brighter than the sun, which we'd expect.
Exactly. I did that so it would show up in the picture well.
Your yellow shirt and yellow shorts.
Yellow shirt and bright green high-vis shorts.
Yeah, green.
It's good. Safe.
So that's kind of what you expect to see at a solar eclipse. Phil's clothing to be brighter than the rest of everything.
Exactly. But it was a super chill spot. So where we're down in a riverbed, and there are dinosaur tracks in the rocks. It's a dinosaur state park or whatever we went to. So it was a lot of fun, and the kids went up and down the river right after, and we're finding, like I said, snakes and turtles and all kinds of fun stuff. So it was super chill. It was an awesome trip. Like we went down to Carlsbad Caverns, we went to Mesa Verde, we went to the Chickasaw Nation up in Oklahoma, went up through Denver. Like we kind of toured half the country when we did this thing.
So it was your cultural appropriation trip?
Cultural appropriation, yeah. It was fun. The Chickasaws have it going on. Their cultural center is like Disneyland level. Like
overpriced and you don't get to go on any rides?
No, it's free though. But I mean, just like all the buildings are like really nice. There's like beautifully landscaped. They must have a lot of money, I'm saying, because it was like, and their museum, everything was like.
Did they have oil on their?
It must have been like something like that, or I think they were. So the gist I got from them, they were part of the Trail of Tears thing.
Yeah,
where they were originally from like Missouri, but Missouri said if you want to stay here, you're going to live under Missouri law and rule. Or the government said you can move over here to Oklahoma and we'll give you this land. You can be your own nation. So they're peeved about that, but they also were like, but our new land is beautiful too. Yeah. So we like that. So it was an interesting type of thing to learn about. But anyway, it was a fun trip.
Did you go to the Oklahoma City bombing site?
No, we didn't do any of that. We just stopped at
morbid trip.
We stopped at the Chickasaw thing because we saw they were doing a stomp dance, like right when we were going through. So that was pretty cool because we stopped and watched that. and we got to go join in and do the stomp dance with them. It was actually pretty fun.
That's neat, actually.
So,
was there a lot of people there?
No.
You're like the only white people?
It's like, it was in an auditorium as nice as any auditorium in the state of Utah. Like, beautiful. Big, probably sat like 3,000 people. And there were like 11 people in there, including us.
Than the one at the old one at the AF Junior High?
Yeah, better than that one.
Better than that one, huh?
But anyway, that was fun. So it was just like a traditional American road trip. And again, we saw the eclipse for a whole minute longer than we did in 2017. And it still seems short. We were going to drive to the dead center to see it even almost a minute longer than that. I think 4 minutes and 23 seconds was the center, but the forecast showed that where we were was the best spot. And it really, you can see it was almost completely clear during the eclipse, which is so funny because a half hour before and after, it was like probably 50% of the time it was covering the sun with these big clouds. So we just totally lucked out, which again, I'm grateful for, but I feel bad for because I feel bad for Mike not seeing it. But
if we learn anything from this story, it's that we just need to
Donald
listen
Trump
to
is
whatever
the
you
worst
say.
Yeah, just listen to me and where to go. And I even told, because I called and talked to Mike after, I'm like, dude, I was totally going to call you last night and like convince you to come up here. But I was worried that I would convince you, you would come, and then it would be blocked.
Yeah.
And down where you were going to be, you would see it. And I would I'd never forgive myself. So I just didn't say anything. But now, obviously, in hindsight, I wish I would have. But
hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. But Mike said it was actually cool.
Good job, Jeff.
It was a cool experience in the clouds because it's like, it was probably even darker for him because of the cloud cover. So that's like a cool thing to experience probably. But I'm bummed because, as I've said, I've talked it up so much. I've wanted people to see it like we've seen it. And your next chance is in 2045. So you better live that long, and you better hope that it's not cloudy when it comes right through Utah. American Fork will get its first total eclipse in 2045 since, I think, like 1890.
Oh, so it'll come
like
through
that.
AF?
Yeah, it'll cover most of like
Wasatch Front?
The Wasatch Front. I think the center of it is like Manti, going east to west. It's going to come. So American Fork will get like probably 40% of totality. So if you want to get like right in the middle, you got to go down by Manti or like our property.
I know someone down there.
Exactly.
With a telescope.
It's going to be a big party. Again, assuming and hoping that it's not cloudy. But that's going to be the next big eclipse.
Dude, we're going to be like 60.
Yeah. It's interesting to think the first one in our lifetimes in the continental United States was in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one was this one this year. And after that, it's 2045. And then after that, it's like, I want to say like 2090 or something. They're very rare. And so it's crazy. We've got to see two of them. But again, the second one was kind of like, yeah, I've seen it though. I want other people to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's like, yeah, I did drugs, but I want other people to experience fentanyl.
The second time doing heroin was cool, but I want Jake to try it.
Yeah.
I've tried this fruit.
I've
tried this
30 pounds.
fruit. It is very desirable. I want
And
my family
delicious
to
to the
experience
taste.
it. I want my family to experience it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my eclipse report.
Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
That was our eclipse report with Phil on the drown.
But I did want to say, because it's obvious that's why we were going, was to the eclipse. But if you haven't been to Carlsbad Caverns, that was phenomenal.
I've heard a lot
I've always
about 'em.
wanted to go, but I hadn't realized how cool it would be. But it is the coolest cave.
I went in elementary school.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, when you were out in California, probably? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hike even from there. It's a long way to get out there.
Hmm.
A long way through nothing. But
Yeah.
it is worth the drive. If you're going to go down and only go to that, we only spent probably 3 hours, but you could spend a full day there easily. But it's like the biggest, coolest cave with formations that just blow you away. And so many like you go to Timpanogos Cave, and like the best formations in Timpanogos Cave are like a joke compared to the worst
Carlsbad.
ones
Yeah,
in
incredible.
Carlsbad.
It's
Like,
amazing down
yeah,
there.
That's cool.
it's cool. So anyway,
It's funny. I there's a social media guy that from England that was talking, and his whole thing is like, he lives in America now. I'm gonna tell English people about Americans and the truth about Americans.
yeah,
And one thing that he brought up was he's like, I don't think the people from England understand. America is massive.
yeah,
This is why Americans don't know anything about the rest of the country,
'Cause they don't
because
need
if
to
you want to
go
go on
anywhere.
vacation, you just stay in America.
yeah,
There are states that are 10 times the size of any country in they're like, you can drive through Texas for 14 hours.
Yeah.
It takes me an hour and a half to get to Germany. Like,
yeah.
anyway, he was going off about that. And it's true. There's so many things in America.
Yeah,
that,
there really are. And it was pretty amazing, like, because we went from Utah to Colorado to Mesa Verde. We went down to Roswell, New Mexico. and
aliens?
We did. And that was actually cool. And I'll bring it up on another podcast because I took pictures of like a lot of the affidavits they had on the walls of like the event and everything. And it's actually pretty wild. Like some of the things that they recorded, and like they even like years later hypnotized a guy to recall these events and like the wreckage that he picked up. It was crazy. But we went there. We went to Carlsbad Caverns. We went through Texas, up through Oklahoma and Kansas, came back through Denver on I-70. So it was like a round trip. Interesting thing is like in all that driving in all those states, Utah blows away everything. Like as soon as you come into Utah, the landscape is so much more beautiful, even than Colorado, I think.
Oh yeah, Colorado's overrated.
Yeah,
in
really.
my opinion.
And I hadn't even I'd never been to Denver. I hadn't realized that Denver is actually on the other side of the Rockies on the plains.
Flat.
Yeah, flat. Like it's against the mountains, but it's like tornado country.
This John Denver is full of shit, right?
And driving from Denver through on I-70 is beautiful. It's like being in Park City a lot of the way. But Denver itself was a lot different than I expected. But Utah is definitely the most beautiful, and also, oddly enough, the highest gas by far prices were in Utah. Everywhere else right now is like $3 a gallon, or even a lot of places were like $2.80, $2.90 in all those states, including like the Denver area. Utah by far has the most expensive gas of those places right now.
So if you're from out of Utah, don't
come
move
here.
to Utah.
Yeah, it's
don't
not worth
come
it.
to
Yeah,
Utah.
it's bad.
And when you said
sucks.
beautiful, did you mean to say looks like dog poop?
Oh yeah,
terrible.
It's the worst.
The worst.
The
of all
worst gas,
states.
the worst politics. Everything about Utah sucks, everybody.
In fact, go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, don't
Sounds way better.
Don't move here. Please don't move here. And on that note,
Bye.
find us on Patreon, Twitter, and all those things
Thinking of a Deans.
on the American Fork Podcast.
That's the American.
Goodbye.
I'm running to Texas now to find my way to see the sun come down in the middle of the day. My hike, where are you now? You totally missed it. Probably because you stole my tools that one time. Just because I blasphemed. Just because I blasphemed.